Why, hello, folks. I will preface this video by asking you all a question. Is Angels of the Zariman, and, you know, by extension, the latest little update to it, Echoes of the Zariman, is that enough, like, content-wise, to keep you going until TennoCon? Or perhaps, much longer than TennoCon? Because that's sort of, you know, kind of what I'm wondering about for myself at the moment. We are in what I would refer to as a content drought, and even with Angels of the Zariman included in, like, just, you know, what's been dropped in the game lately, we are in a content drought, and a pretty big one, and one that has been going on for a long time. Now, the thing about Warframe is that, like, just, you know, over the years, content is just added on, and added on, and added on, and added on. So now, if you are a new player, starting the game, then there's a million billion things to do, right? You're gonna be 200, 300, 400 game hours in, like, before you even get to play in the Zariman, before you even reach the Zariman, right? So it's more of a veteran problem. It's more that, like, people who have played the game for several years and have started to sort of, like, deplete the available content in the game. It's more that for them it's an issue of running out of things to do. But, like, I guess eventually, like, in development, you reach the point where, like, oh, there's enough stuff. There's enough stuff in the game now to where we are gonna keep the average player happy for long enough that you just treat it as, like, player cycles. It's like old players leave, new players come in, and for every year, I guess there is less and less incentive to keep on creating content. Until we reach the point where it's time to, like, just straight up do Warframe 2, I guess. Now, the problem is I'm not even sure you can do Warframe 2, because this game came out in 2013, and, you know, the whole thing of games as a service, and games that are free to play but then just survive on constant content updates and stuff like that, it is a hard market to get into today. It was more of a thing back then, with Warframe, and with Destiny, and games like that. But a lot of new sort of games as a service game that have tried to, like, drop down on the market, like, are struggling and can't get people to, like, stick around for it. It wasn't like Babylon's Fall, something like that, man. That was a nightmare. But Warframe did it once, and then the question is, you know, can they do it again, or do they just not want to take that risk? I don't know. But, like, the thing is then that, like, there is a million billion things to do. There is like almost an impossible amount of content. So for most people who play Warframe, the vast majority of players who play Warframe, the things that I'm talking about here are, like, not really a problem. They're not really a problem. There's stuff to do, and there's gonna be stuff to do for a long time. I'm just gonna get some more void plumes this way, the lazy way. I gotta farm for more anyway. But, like, when it comes to the Zariman content, right? What we have here, all I have left to do at this point, because I've already grinded it out. Zariman content wasn't huge. Didn't take that long.
Yes. Goodbye for now.
Nice. So you know, all I have left to do now is just grind out the daily standing, so that I can clean out the stores. But that's basically it. But let's look at the timeline here, okay? And again, again, I reiterate, I understand that this is a problem for veteran players. I understand that this is not a problem for the vast, vast majority of people playing Warframe. You have things to do. I get that. But, like, look back a year, and like most of the tail end of 2021, we did not get a whole lot of new content because, you know, they were just focusing on getting the new war out. The big cinematic quest, the new war, which took up like all of their time. So, early 2021, we got like Call of the Tempestari. That was like, you know, spring 2021 or whatever. And after that, things really slowed down. So we got the new war in December of 2021, right? And that's about it. That's about it. We are still in update 31, I guess, which was like the new war. We're still in update 31. It's been like almost half a year or something. So, New War came out in December 2021. And the only new content that we got from the New War, the only lasting thing, was the Narmer bounties that you could play in Fortuna and Plains of Eidolon. And you know, there's a couple of new bounties with a couple of new enemies, but they work the same way as the old bounties, and you can farm for Caliban that way, and some new weapons, and that's about it. Then there were like no real content updates, nothing like significant until April. And April is when we got Angels of the Zariman. In between, we had Prime Resurgence. We had Prime Resurgence, which was just like an event of farming for relics, just doing relic missions, and getting a whole bunch of primes. And, you know, me and Anna had a lot of fun with that to make sure that, like, she got pretty much all the primes during that event, which was cool. But Prime Resurgence wasn't exactly new content in the way we talk about it. No new nodes, no new missions, no new like mission types or whatever, and no new rewards either. Really, you're just farming for stuff that's already in the game, with a couple of exceptions. The couple of exceptions being, you know, the teeny tiny little more stuff that they added to Varzia's store. And I guess they just got the model for Varzia from like her being in a cutscene. So they could just repurpose that.
Who looks after their frame. Let's talk about the good stuff.
So yeah, let's see.
For old time's sake.
I got most of this stuff. But the evergreen rewards, yeah, it was like some glyphs, a Syandana, a Lisette skin. That's about it. That was the new content.
Sure, enjoy your future.
Nothing more really besides that. So then we got Angels of the Zariman. As far as like big new open worldy stuff, it's quasi open world. It functions like the open worlds in that you have a hub in the cryosleep, and you have vendors and you have standing and whatever. But instead of going out into an open world, you go out into different nodes that are like procedurally generated with some new mission types. So it's somewhere in between an open world and a planet, I guess. But like in scope, it is much smaller than the open worlds. It does not at all have the same scope. So it's basically, yeah, it's new missions, like 3 new missions, but you're just running those same 3 new missions like over and over and over and over again until you have cleaned out the vendors, and then you get like some cutscenes in between. But like now that I've, you know, cleaned out most of the Zariman, And I've done most of the other stuff in the game. Like, besides maxing out all the new arcanes and getting, like, new furniture and stuff like that, I don't really have anything to do right now in the game. As a content creator, that is also a problem, because, hey man, I'm supposed to make content about Warframe, but what do I do when there's not really anything to say that hasn't already been said? The helmet system is by this point pretty thoroughly explored, so I don't expect that we're gonna find any new sort of like busted synergies that had been like hitherto undiscovered, something like that. So I don't know. TennoCon is still like a couple of weeks away. My big concern here for TennoCon, July 16th, is that we're not really gonna get any content that's gonna be like dropped at TennoCon. If you look at last year's, they were just announcing the new war, basically, and saying we're working on the new war. And then it took like another 6 months after that, or 5 months or so, before we actually got the new war. So it could be the same, that like TennoCon is just gonna be like a preview of things they're working on that are like still in the pipeline, that may not come out until like maybe half a year later. And if that's the case, then we are looking at almost an entire year between the new war and the Duvir Paradox, with Angels of the Zariman being like the only significant content drop in between. And I have, like, it's just my feeling that things have been slowing down when it comes to like generating new content for this game. It feels like they were doing more before, and they were pumping out more content. Now, like, I know it's a bit unfair to compare, because like 2019 and 2020 were goddamn two bangers of years when it came to Warframe. It's like, holy shit. In 2019, we got Nightwave, right? Specifically, we got both Nightwave Season 1 and Nightwave Season 2. That was both in 2019. We got 2019 was the Jupiter rework and the Jovian Concord. The Jovian Concord. I think that was what it's called. And the introduction of disruption missions as well. 2019 was the Old Blood, right? We got the Old Blood. We got Kuvaliches in 2019, which was also like a big thing, and was like generated a massive amount of like new content for the game. And I mean the big one, 2019, right? The big one, Railjack. The Empyrean update that was also in 2019. So the Rising Tide quest, building a Railjack in your dry dock, and starting to do all of this, and like the what the Railjack was like in the first year or so, like huge, an entire new like game within Warframe. That was all of that was 2019. 2020, we got Operation Scarlet Spear. I know that's sort of like a divisive event or whatever, but man, I got so much goodies out of that event, and I played it a lot, and it was teamwork in a way that they've never done before. Coordinating squads in multiple locations, stuff like that. It didn't exactly work the way they had planned it was gonna work, but it was a noble effort, and it was cool that they like took a risk on something like that. And I actually did have fun with the event once things like started working the way they were supposed to. But still, it was like a big event. It went on for a long time. We got Nightwave Season 3, where they were still doing like these cinematic Nightwave things. We got Deadlock Protocol and Protea, and Deadlock Protocol, like a lot of people have it up among like their favorite quests. Where is it even? Where is it? Man, can't even see it. Is it? I guess it's pretty early up. Yeah, here, because you can play it actually really early if you want to. But yeah, Deadlock Protocol might be my favorite quest. Might be. It's a super fun quest. So we got that one too. Steel Path. Yep. Steel Path was also introduced in 2020. Granted, it's not like new content, but it's a new concept, and it completely changed how the game was played. We got Operation Orphix Venom with Railjack stuff and Corpus Railjack, right? No, we didn't get Corpus Railjack yet, but it was the trial balloon where they were trying to use like Necromex in like normal missions. But that was a cool event. It went on for a long time. That's how I managed to max out most of my important arcanes. And then obviously the big one in 2020, Heart of Deimos. Yeah, the entire Deimos thing with the Necrodisc and the Cambion Drift and all of that. And like I put out a video with like a tier list with everything you can get in Deimos, and man, that is a long video. That is a long video because there was a lot of content in Deimos. There was a lot of stuff to get. Like this, my Sentinel skin with Lloyd. What's funny is, like, Deimos, they were talking about how they had their focus first on, like, New War. But then COVID hit, and they were feeling like how the development cycle was sort of like slowing down and things weren't going like according to plan. So they shifted the schedule around, like the release schedule of what they were working on. And they put their focus on Heart of Deimos instead to get that out, because they were like familiar with it. And they were like, oh yeah, this is in our wheelhouse. We know how to make an open world. And it's like, Jesus. It is impressive what they did with Heart of Deimos. Even though it's somewhat smaller, like the Cambion Rift, it's somewhat smaller than the Orb Valis, stuff like that. It might be my favorite open world. They did just so many things right about Heart of Deimos, and like everyone was really hype about it. And it dropped, like, you know, shortly after TennoCon. We did not have to wait long for it. And it's such a craft of love. It's just gorgeous. And it introduced so many cool things to the game. The Entrati family are cool. All of the new lore regarding it, which is like just... It's been very important when it comes to like the new war and everything with Albrecht and Trati and all of the concepts of eternalism and like the man in the wall and like all of it is so like it all comes from here. It all came from Deimos, where they just introduced so many of these new things. Man, all of the wall of Loke and all of that. Have you been here, by the way? If you've leveled up with this syndicate and you can learn all of this cool stuff about like Albrecht and Trati, you should. I don't know if everyone's done that, but there's a lot of cool stuff here. God damn. And it's like, hey man, the Zariman is fine, but in terms of just being like a work of love, Deimos is fantastic. So if Railjack was the biggest thing in 2019 and Deimos was the biggest thing in 2020, then it's like, by comparison, 2021. We got Call of the Tempestari, and we got Corpus Railjack, which is like a couple of new mission types in Railjack, where they sort of mix and match Railjack missions with normal Warframe missions. Sure. We got the Sisters of Parvos, which is the Corpus version of the Kuvaliches. And then we got the New War. At the same time, Nightwave was placed in sort of indefinite intermission, where we no longer get sort of these new cinematic Nightwave acts. So that was basically it, right? Call of the Tempestari in spring, Sisters of Parvos in summer, nothing in autumn at all, and then around December the new war. That was 2021. 2022, we've gotten Angels of the Zarman in April. That's it. We have not gotten like any other significant content drops in 2022, and we are already through half of the year. We're halfway through 2022, and that's the only thing. And like I said, my worry is that TennoCon is just gonna be, you know, here's what we're working on. I mean, I'd love it if I was wrong. I would love it if TennoCon was just sort of like, oh yeah, the Duviri Paradox, playable now. But I don't think it is. I don't think that's what we're gonna get. So, I'm just wondering, like, am I the only one who feels this way? Because, like, if I'm looking at what there is to do for me personally in the game, like, just run Zariman bounties for another 2 to 6 months just to get, like, a bunch of Dormizone furniture. That's kind of it. That's kind of... Otherwise, there's, like, you know... You can log in, and you can do your daily login stuff. There's always Nightwave to do. There's always the daily sortie. You can always check for invasions to see if there's like a 4 Mauer Catalyst in one of them or whatever. You can always do your Steel Path dailies to get some Steel Essence if that's what you're into. So you can get like an Umbra Forma once every 3 months or so. And then you can log into the Zariman and do like a couple of Zariman bounties, I guess. So, sure, I guess. But there's nothing really new besides that. Like, obviously it's a bigger problem for me as a content creator than it is as a player. And it's a bigger problem for a veteran than it is for a new or intermediate or even late game player. Like, I am a mastery rank legendary too, right? I've done pretty much everything there is to do in the game. I have maxed out all of the equipment except for the Inodem, one of the new Incarnon weapons. I haven't mastered that one up yet, but once I've done that, I will be at 675. So I get it. I'm in a bit of a unique spot. Not unique. There are more people like me, but most people are not going to be like me. And I know that like there's always the whole like just, you know, hey, take a break. Just if you feel sort of burnt out on Warframe or you feel there's nothing to do in the game right now, just take a break, play something else, and come back when there is new content. Which I guess is fine. You can do that. The only struggle there, or the only issue is obviously, again, that I am a Warframe content creator, and unfortunately, I would like it if you people watched our non-Warframe videos as well. I would love that, but the vast majority of you don't. The vast majority of you come to this channel for Warframe stuff, and the non-Warframe games that we play on the channel, me and Anna. Unfortunately, most of you just aren't clicking on those videos, so. It's a situation where I'm trying to find the new stuff to make content about, but I'm not really feeling all that inspired at the moment because they haven't really added a whole lot to the game lately at all. So, kind of running out of stuff to talk about. I don't know, is it just me? Am I the only one who's having this feeling? Because, like, I just really feel like they pumped out more content for Warframe before. And I get that, like, yeah, COVID has messed things up. I understand that. It's definitely slowed down how they produce things. But, you know, now people are starting to go back to working in the office, and things are slowly but surely sort of like going back to normal. So we'll see if they'll pick up the pace again in the future, because if that is what it was, if that is what was like slowing everything down, which is fair, because that happened with like my jobs as well that I've had during COVID. Like I've been able to see that too. Like everyone has struggled with it in their own ways, so that's fine. I have an understanding of that, but like the reality of it is that if you compare 2019 and like the first half of 2020, with like how the development of the game has like just and content updates since then, like since COVID hit, it is kind of night and day, and it's becoming very noticeable right now, I think, how much it slowed down. Where if you like look at it objectively, where it's like Call of the Tempestari, Sisters of Parvos, The New War, and Angels of the Zariman, that's like a year and a half, and then that's what's been added to the game in that time. It's not anyway, I'm gonna try to make the occasional Warframe videos here and there when I figure out something new to make videos about. In the meantime, we're gonna be playing a lot of like non-Warframe stuff, because I think I will have to sort of like just play some other stuff while I just wait for them to add more stuff to the game that I can make content about. So as always, it is a call to arms. It is a call to view. Me and Anna would be very happy if you would give our non-Warframe videos a chance and watch us play some other games as well, while we all sort of just wait for some new stuff. And as always, I will always take suggestions. If you can come up with some cool stuff that you would want me to make content about, that is something I can definitely do. Because hey man, two brains are better at think than one brain. So I will hear you out. Leave a comment about like, I want you to do this, and let's see if we can make something happen. Alright, so that's the update, that's the video. Thank you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys tomorrow for something completely different.